Yeah, thank you. I'll just say what a great college baseball game. Both teams have earned the right to be playing in this super regional, and what a ball game. Their starter was outstanding. He kept us off balance. Just really proud of our guys that we made an adjustment offensively there in the middle innings, and like I told the team after the game, a lot of times it's not how the game starts, it's how you finish, and just really, really proud of our guys. I think Evan Blanco's effort tonight was really special. Your job as a starter, even though if you fall behind, is to go out there and keep your team in the ball game, and he kept us in the game enough and he knows what our offensive capability is, that if he goes out there and even after giving up runs that he manages innings and pitches deep into the ball game. A lot to be said about the 3-run home run by Godbout, but I really feel that Evan Blanco's outing to get us to the 8th inning was the difference in the ball game. Really was that he never left the game with it being out of reach, and went out there and did his job and kept his team in the game. And I'm sure he was very confident that our offensive ball club would figure it out, which they did, and made a nice adjustment. And just really proud of our guys. We have another opportunity tomorrow to come out here and play a great baseball game, and we'll see what happens.
Jeff White, VirginiaSports.com. Evan, after giving up a double to Tulpeper, what was the key for you after that?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of locking in with 2 outs. I mean, they kind of strung together a couple of hits with 2 outs. And then landing pitches too. I kind of found myself in the middle of the strike zone a little too much earlier in the game. And, kind of focusing in on hitting spots and kind of dialing it in with 2 strikes was kind of the key for me.
Mike, and then Ray.
Yeah, Henry, I'm curious, mentally, pressure-wise, is there more pressure on you going into game 1 to start the series, get in that good position? Or is there more pressure now that you were a win away from Omaha and what you guys want to be doing?
To be honest, don't really feel much pressure. The way we practice every day, we kind of simulate these types of situations, and when we get out there, we just play. So I don't really feel much pressure at all.
Okay, great. And then Preston.
Yeah, Henry, can you walk us through that at bat there in the 7th and what you were looking for against the other relievers?
I was just looking for a good pitch to hit, staying with my approach. Coach Oak, the at bat before, was telling me you gotta buckle up in the back half of the game and stay in it, and that's what I tried to do, and I got a pitch to hit, and I hit it hard.
What was your reaction seeing it go over the fence?
Yeah, I kind of blacked out, I'm going to be completely honest with you. It was a pretty special moment. Yeah, can't really say much else, honestly.
Preston.
Yeah, Henry, you kind of mentioned it, those first 2 at-bats, probably ones that you would like to have back, but just kind of how did you rally from those first 2?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how the game goes sometimes. You got to rally back from those types of at-bats and kind of relying on our approach and what we do in practice, and just kind of settling myself down and not trying to do too much.
Great, and then Mike.
And it looked like later in the game and later innings that you had gotten a little bit more velocity on your fastball and things like that. Was that just something deliberate, or more just getting close to the end of the game and trying to finish out strong?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that much. Kind of just got more comfortable and a little more aggressive towards my target.
Evan, when that first ball gets lost up in the sun or the lights, how do you kind of shake that off? Because it's fair to say that's not a great start, a good omen, however you want to look at it. How did you kind of react to that?
Right, yeah. Kind of, as a pitcher, you got to flip the page pretty quickly. I feel like I did a good job of that, getting 3 consecutive outs right after that. So kind of just flipping the page is kind of the key in this game.
Preston, and then Ray.
Yeah, Henry, you missed a significant amount of time earlier in the season. Just kind of during that time, how did you kind of stay fresh and kind of get ready for this back half season? I think Oak said earlier, he's like, we're going to need him, down that home stretch.
Yeah, for me, it was obviously really tough. I love playing with this team, and not being out there was really tough. But I really just tried to keep my timing in the dugout. I would I would honestly pretend like I was playing, see pitches, and keep my timing. So when I got back, I was able to step in and help the team.
Great.
Both of you guys weigh in on this, but Ty, I think was the third comeback win this postseason, 23rd on the year. All those comeback wins you guys had during the year, and there were some crazy ones. The Wade game stands out in Carolina. How has that served you well this postseason?
Yeah, I got it. It's been big. I mean, especially pitching. I know that the bats, it doesn't matter how many runs I really give up. I know that each game is going to be competitive when we have a lineup like this.
Yeah, and what I would say is, I mean, the way we approach hitting, it's just one pitch, one at bat at a time. It really doesn't matter if we're down or we're up. We're just going to keep stringing together hits, and we trust ourselves to make it happen.
We got couple in the back with you, Ken Park, and then we'll go on the front.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, I mean, what is it about this team? You guys have been really, really tough down the stretch in the last couple innings, but what is it about this team that makes you guys so oriented to comeback wins and to kind of locking it up towards the last couple innings?
Henry, why don't you?
It's the same thing. It's our preparation and how we handle everything from practice to game days to. I mean, we don't really worry about the score. We just do what we need to do. We trust our approach, and we just know that at some point we're going to break through if we stick to that.
Okay, all right, guys, thank you very much. You guys can stick around or you can get back. Now we'll take questions for Coach O'Connell, Jeff, Mike, Preston, and then Greg.
Brian, you got some new faces on the team this year, but a lot of these guys were on the team last year and have been through that. How much does that experience come into play when you get to a super?
Well, I think experience matters for sure. We've been fortunate in our program to be in this position quite a bit coming into this weekend and the position we are going into tomorrow. And, just as a coach, how you manage your group, the things you say, decisions that you make, I think are learned a little bit. So we're fortunate to have had a lot of those opportunities with regards to this team. Yes, there are a lot of guys that were in this moment last year, and I'm sure they learned from how they felt, right? That, when you get to this point, you have to slow your heartbeat down. You have to trust what you've done all year long and don't make the moment too big. And, that's what allows them to come from behind and find a way to win. They're not pressing. And it's what allows somebody like Evan Blanco to go out there and understand what his job is, even falling behind. And so, listen, when we went to the moon, we didn't have any experience, right? So, I'm not sure it's everything, but I think, when you have been in this position before, like a lot of these guys have, they can slow things down a little bit and let their talents show.
Brian, I think you heard me ask Devin, but when that first ball drops, and
Yeah,
been in a lot of games, that's not a great omen for the start of a ball game.
sure.
One, what was your reaction, and what do you think of the way Evan kind of responded to that?
Well, I thought he responded like a winner. My reaction was just to take a deep breath and not, get upset, right? I think that's incredibly important for everybody in our dugout, just to take it for what it is. And sometimes this time of year you see some things that are pretty crazy and not get emotional about it. But what was important that Evan spoke about early, that, just concede the run, right? Don't try to pitch out of you. Run on third base, no out. Get the next guy in front of you and manage that inning versus it becoming a multiple run inning. And it's things like that that ultimately won us the ball game.
Preston,
Yeah, what did you say to Henry after those first two at-bats, and did you imagine that, you at this point you'd be the only guy with a home run this postseason?
Yeah. Well, after he'd had a couple of at-bats, I reminded him that it's not how the game starts, it's how the game ends. And, when he was on deck there, and, those are the things I speak about that, I have learned in a lot of years here at Virginia, that I can tell you my first 4 years, I was uptight and anxious and would yell a lot and things. And so, again, with experiences, it's important that you share the right things with the players and then trust them for them to go out and execute it. Henry Godbout's a great player. I've seen him do that a number of times this year, and certainly we missed him when he was out for a little bit this year, but managing that situation the right way is what allows him to be healthy and ready to play the back part of the season and have a moment like he did tonight.
Yeah, Brian, I was gonna ask, Godbout's had some home runs in big spots through this postseason, one of the aces tournament, I won all chief earned in the regular season.
Yeah.
What enables him to have the home runs and some tough competition?
Well, it's hard work. Henry played almost every day for us last year at second base, and didn't hit home runs. Okay, but his skills at that time allowed us to win, and he worked hard. You look at him physically; he's a completely different player. I grab his arms this year, and it's different than grabbing them last year, and that's work. He takes an incredible amount of pride in his craft, and has shown this year through his lessons last year that he learned that he can step up in big moments, and he's an incredibly talented player.
Monty Saylor, College Baseball Central. In your 6 previous trips to the Super Region or to Omaha, you've lost game 4 times. You haven't won game 1 of the Super since 2015. What's going to be different with the message to the team versus a game 1 win versus a game 1 loss?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people put thought into that. It won't change. That they have a opportunity tomorrow to play another college baseball game, and don't make the moment too big. I think some teams and coaches make a mistake by thinking one game away. Right, and that's too much. Focus on coming out and playing hard and playing good Virginia baseball. And if the opportunity's there to advance on, we will. Listen, Kansas State is not going to go away. They are an incredibly talented team. They went 3-0 in the Arkansas Regional. We have the utmost respect for their ball club. Their offensive team, and they're going to run some really high-quality arms out there tomorrow, so we need to be locked in and just focus on what's in front of us tomorrow and not to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Coach, you said this team reminds him a lot of your 2014 team, that there's no holes in the lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a special offensive ball club, and I know we didn't knock the fences down in the regional, but I'll say that every team that is in the NCAA regional and now the super regional, they're gonna have really good pitching staffs and good arms. The teams that don't get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament, there's a reason, and more times the majority of the time, it's because they don't have a high-quality pitching staff. So you look at the regionals were so different than the college baseball season. There was so much, not just our team, across the country, there were so many runs scored, so many home runs, and that happened a little bit in the regionals, but not much, and it's because the teams that are playing in postseason baseball, they have really good pitching and they play good defense. That's why they're there, So in my opinion, last weekend and this weekend, it comes down to little moments and little things that happen in the game that decide whether you win or lose, and because the margin for victory, other than if you're Florida State today, it's pretty small. So it's focusing on the little things that allow you to beat another great team.
Coach, your starting pitching situation has been kind of fluid most of the year. And
Yeah.
It's now starting to come into focus.
Mhm.
But your stalwart all year long has been Evan. Can you just talk about how his
Well, I'd first like to say our pitching's been fun. Like, I mean, really, I've actually really enjoyed all year the challenge of figuring it out, right? Gives us the best option, to start that game? Who are the best options out of the bullpen? Sure, we would all like it to be easy and straightforward and right out in front of you, but most of the time it doesn't work that way. And a pivotal part of this team was when we moved Evan Blanco to our Friday night starter. That's why I wanted him to start tonight, because he had earned that opportunity, and his growth and development as a pitcher throughout this year is really, really impressive. I'm not so sure that what he went through tonight, giving up a few of those runs early, that he would have maybe managed it the same way as he did tonight. And that's learned, right? It's learned through experience. But he's a bulldog. You have a hard time taking the ball away from him. Trust me, he wanted to go back out there in the 8th inning. And that's what you want. You want guys that believe in themselves so much that they're disappointed that you take the ball out of their hands. And he's earned that, and he stepped up for this team tonight.
Jeff and then Greg.
Big situation for Jay tomorrow. What do you tell him going into that start?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know that it's any bigger than last Sunday, and he stepped up for our team when we needed him, and it's really just going out there and being Jay Woolfolk and getting us off to a good start. That's what's key. That's important. And again, what Jay did last Sunday, he earned the opportunity that he has tomorrow. And I expect him to go out there and attack and pitch us a great ball game. I don't know that he'll go 8 innings again like he did last Sunday, but I'm very, very confident that he'll go out there and give it everything he has and give us a chance to win the game.
Take one last one, Greg.
How have all those regular season comeback wins served you guys this postseason?
Well, I think the comeback victories show the character of this team. You either crumble when you fall behind, right, or you step up, and you might not come back and win the game, but do you continue to fight, right? And this ball club all year long has, no matter what the situation is, for the most part, has been there at the end. And the depth of this lineup is incredibly impressive. That's why it reminds me of a few teams in the past that you got to work as a pitcher in the opposing dugout, because you give this team a gap and an opening. A lot of times this year they've capitalized on it.